The night the old woman opened her door to two freezing bikers' children, she had no idea that by sunrise, the quiet street would shake under the weight of roaring engines. Snow still clung to the hedges, the sky still looked bruised and heavy, and yet something enormous was already moving toward her small house. What she did out of simple kindness would echo far beyond that door, and by the next day, 150 Hell's Angels would be standing right where she now stood, waiting. Why they came, and what they brought with them, was something no one on that street would ever forget. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and quiet courage, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel, Only Kindness. Your support helps stories like this reach the hearts that need them most. Martha Bellows had lived alone for nearly 15 years in the same modest house at the edge of town. The paint on the porch rails was peeling, the roof creaked in the wind, and the heater groaned like an old man every winter, but it was home. At 72, Martha had learned to live with silence, with memories, and with the steady rhythm of days that no longer surprised her. Her husband had passed long ago, her only son had been taken by illness in his 20s, and the world had slowly grown smaller. Yet even as her body weakened, something inside her remained stubbornly alive, the instinct to care. That night, the cold came down hard. The kind of cold that slips under doors and presses against bones. Martha had just finished locking up when she noticed two small shapes huddled near her fence. At first she thought they were stray animals, but when one lifted a head, she saw a child's face, pale and shaking. There were two of them, siblings perhaps, no older than 8 and 10, wearing thin jackets that were no match for the biting wind. Their lips were blue, their hands stiff, their eyes filled with fear that no child should ever carry. Martha did not know where they came from or who they belonged to. She did not know their last names, their story, or the trouble that might follow. She only knew that if she closed her door, they might not make it through the night. Her joints screamed as she hurried forward, her heart pounding with urgency. She wrapped them in old blankets, sat them by the heater, and warmed soup she had planned to save for days. She dried their hair with a towel that still smelled faintly of lavender, and watched the color slowly return to their faces. The children slept on her couch that night, curled like kittens, breathing softly as the storm raged outside. Martha sat awake in her chair, listening to the wind and wondering who would be looking for them. She noticed the small patches stitched onto their backpacks, symbols she vaguely recognized but did not fully understand. She whispered a prayer anyway, asking for protection, for mercy, and for morning to come gently. By dawn, the storm had passed, but a different tension hung in the air. The children woke calmer, stronger, and full of quiet gratitude. Martha fed them toast and honey, then walked them back to the edge of town where they said their father had told them to wait when the motorcycle broke down in the snow the night before. She watched until they disappeared down the road, her chest tight with worry and hope tangled together. The rest of the morning passed slowly. Martha cleaned, rested, and tried to calm the unease she could not shake. Then, just after noon, she heard it. A low rumble at first, like distant thunder. It grew louder, heavier, more deliberate. The windows began to tremble. Cups rattled in the cabinet. When she stepped onto her porch, her breath caught in her throat. Motorcycles filled the street from end to end. Black leather, chrome, and engines idling like powerful beasts held in check. 150 riders stood beside their bikes, patches marking them unmistakably as Hell's Angels. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains. Fear spread faster than the sound of engines. Martha's hands trembled, but she did not step back. She had lived too long, lost too much, to let fear rule her now. The riders removed their helmets, one by one, in a movement so synchronized it felt almost ceremonial. At the front stood a tall man with silver threaded through his beard, his face marked by years of hard roads and harder choices. He held something small in his hands, two knitted scarves, the same ones Martha had wrapped around the children the night before. The truth unfolded without raised voices or threats. The children were his. The breakdown, the storm, the desperate decision to send them ahead for safety. When he found them warm, alive, and cared for, they told him about the old woman with gentle hands and soup that tasted like home. Word traveled fast among men who valued loyalty and family above all else. They came not in anger, but in gratitude. What followed was something the street had never seen. The riders quietly fixed Martha's roof, replaced her heater, and stocked her kitchen with enough food for months. They shoveled every driveway on the block, repaired fences, and left envelopes that Martha would not open until later, hands shaking with disbelief. No cameras, no speeches, no demands. Just action, respect, and a promise that she would never face another winter alone. As the engines finally roared back to life, the man with the silver beard turned once more toward Martha and placed his hand over his heart. In that moment, she understood something simple and powerful. Kindness does not ask who you are or where you come from. It only asks if you are willing.